guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another Dr.stone manga chapter review. This time reviewing manga chapter 169, Giggity, Risk or Heart. So, yeah, if you didn't think that the American colony Corn City arc was going to end, this chapter is confirming that, yeah, it's ended. Don't be shocked. You should have seen this coming. So yeah, this chapter basically confirms that the arc is over and that they're going to be moving on to a new location to start up a new city. Now, where's the city going to be located? Well, I guess you're going to have to watch this review to find out, or, read the manga itself, which, why are you watching this video if you haven't read the manga? I mean, come on, go read the manga. It's free. Read it now. Go. And then come back here and watch this video. All right? Okay? You did that? All right, cool. Now that you're back, hey, why don't you subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as leave a like and a comment down below on what you thought about this chapter. And now, without the way, let's get right into the review. So, we start this chapter off with a very beautiful cover page of Senku and Zeno, and they just look very beautiful. Like, Boishi's art is just always great. And what is very interesting is that in the where the moon is, you see these little tiny like starlights, which could just be normal stars in the sky, or it could be multiple Medusas falling to the earth, causing the petrification event. So it could be either or, but all I can say is that it's very beautiful. And then from this cover page, we immediately go back into the continuation of the last chapter, where they had the declaration of what the revival fluid is, and basically Senku using his diplomacy skills to basically tell Brody, he's like, hey, you're going to build Corn City and you're going to wake up 1 million people because now you know the formula. And from what my understanding is, people were questioning why Senku would tell them the formula. And the reason is yeah, he could tell them that the revival fluid is basically nitrile, but it requires a certain percentage of alcohol and nitric acid for the revival fluid to actually take into effect. Because if you remember correctly from the first, I believe, chapter 2, when they actually created the revival fluid through trial and error, there were multiple samples of alcohol mixed with the nitric acid to make the nitrile, and that only this specific solution could be dictated as a revival fluid. So just because they have the individual, just because they know what two components make it up to the revival fluid, doesn't mean that they'll be actually able to make it. And this kind of ties into the diplomacy of this chapter for why the Kingdom of Science is important to the American colonies. But before that even happens, like I said, we have Senku, who basically tells them to wake up 1 million people. Brody's sweaty because he's this kid is crazy. And even with Gin and Risui, they're basically saying Senku, you're crazy, why would you even tell them this? Also, are we just gonna leave everyone behind? Which you have Sequel, who brings this up, is so we're gonna leave everyone? And then it's just this realization of, yo, we gonna separate. Everyone comes to the realization that they're gonna be separated from everyone else, especially when it comes to Taiju, where he's Yuzuhara. He also thinks about everyone, but it makes sense that he would think of Yuzuhara because he's in love with her. But then from there, we cut over from Senku's team back over to the Perseus, where you have everyone coming to this realization of yo, what are we gonna do now? And Senku basically gives them an idea. It's okay, we're going to do diplomacy. It's up to y'all to do this while we try to escape. Does anyone know English? And then you have multiple people's yo, we don't know English at all. Do any of us know English besides Senku? And then you have Mina and Nikki that come up oh yeah, we know English. You have Mina who's yeah, I'm a reporter, so I know English somewhat well. And then you have Nikki, who, this chapter is a 10 out of 10 for me, mainly because Nikki plays a large role in this chapter. We're going to get to that role really soon, but Nikki brings up oh yeah, I kind of know a little bit of English, and the only reason why I know is because she wanted to understand Lillian's lyrics. So basically, Nikki, I would classify her as a reverse weeb, so just stacking on points for why Nikki is best girl. But then from here, because now we've established the two people that can speak English, now you have them talking to Brody about diplomacy, and how Mina brings up the fact that it's like, yo, we're going to work together, and the first thing I need you to do is to release us and make sure that we're safe. But Brody's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Like, we have the power. We outpower you. We're not going to just adhere to releasing everyone and like joining up with y'all. That's not how this works. Like, 1 million people, you're not, just because like he wants diplomacy doesn't mean that we'll have it. And while Brody's basically says that, you have Nikki who's screaming, being just, shut up, free everyone from these ropes. And Brody's like, okay, come on, calm down, no, we're not gonna. And Nikki just screams once again, is like, listen here, you're gonna do it, we're gonna work together, and you're gonna like it. I just love her so much. It's so great. So yeah, she's like, she just screams at Brody to like let them go. Brody tries to counter her. She's like, no, shut up. You're letting us go, and we're gonna work together, and that's that. And what is funny is that it works. And now it does require a little bit more convincing about how she's like, yo, what we're going to do is that we're going to revive, we're going to play nice together, we're going to work together, we're going to make this corn city, we're going to revive all these people, and we're going to shake on it. And it's just great. And like, even to the point where like Brody just hears all of this, and it's like, and then you have Brody who's basically like, all right, little lady, I like your spirit. All right, fine, we'll seal this deal, both of us, as the provisional presidents. And something interesting about this is, as we see the next page, we have how they are establishing that they're going to be working together to create this corn city until Stanley brings Dr. Zeno back, as well as like they will be a sanctuary to revive 1 million people. As we see that they're in like this type of diplomacy setting, as they are in this kind of world summit like area. And I find this to be even more interesting because, first of all, I enjoy how Brody says that they are provisional presidents, even though Japan doesn't have like a presidency, it has a prime minister. But what I enjoy most about this is that if we're going based off like just the idea of presidency, America is being refounded as having the first black president, while Japan was already founded by the Kingdom of Science, but now officially has a president, aka a prime minister, that is female. Diversity at its finest. I just enjoy just this small little tip. It was like the first American president is black and the first Japanese president is female. It's just great. It's just great. But unfortunately, even though this is like a joyous moment for diplomacy, unfortunately, not everyone is happy about this. Or to be more specifically, the Kingdom of Science people are happy about the diplomacy because they are now free. And then cutting from this peace summit, we have Brody who brings up a good point of like how, yeah, even though everyone is free, like the Kingdom of Science is happy with the deal, but Brody is not, really, mainly due to the idea of like, yo, you may think like this is all hunky-dory and all, but don't forget, like, Stanley is going to hunt you down, and like, you're coming down river, you're coming towards the Perseus, you're gonna have to face him, and he's not gonna stop, as we get Senku with his menacing face, because he's having a plan to deal with Stanley, as we see Stanley is mad and is questioning how Senku is alive, and to answer his question, a bulletproof vest. But as this is happening, Stanley sees Zeno's ship coming down the river. He is preparing for battle. He has his man throwing his gun, and as he points it at the ship, there's this sparkling little thing on the hull of it. And from here, we have the Kingdom of Science question, like, what are they looking at? What is it? And then you have Homura, who sees the Medusa on the front of the boat. And then you have Yuzuhara, who comes up with an idea instantly and tells everyone to basically scream and run because the petrification device will be taking their lives. And because they say this causes Stanley to shoot the Medusa device off the ship, which allows for Senku and his group to bypass Stanley and escape. And you know what? Stanley comes to his realization like, oh, So that kid was lying, or at least he was bluffing. And he just compliments on the fact that they're not bad, that they were able to escape. And while they're like getting away, you have both Taiju and Chrome who are like really questioning, like, oh man, we gotta say goodbye. But then you have Hyoga's question is like, is that the best decision? Is that really wise to do that? Which it doesn't really matter, because the Kingdom of Science, even if it's illogical, they always follow their heart. And by doing so, we get these 2 double-page spreads of the people on the boat with Senku and Chrome and all of them raising their hand, as we see also the people who are still with Brody as well as Stanley as they are on the Perseus, as they also raise their hands in like solidarity as they're saying goodbye to each other. And you may be thinking like, well, that puts them at a disadvantage. It's a risk. Or is it? Tying into the title of this chapter of risk or heart, in actuality, this was a risk, but because they raised their hand up, they caused Stanley to not have a clear shot or a clear sight line to the boat to potentially kill Senku again. But because of this, they actually, even though it was a risk, there was a huge benefit of it because of their solidarity. They were truly able to escape. And now that they've escaped, and then you have Senku, who is basically like saying that it's time to be moving forward, and how even they're going to be playing keep away from Stanley and his crew for a while they travel the globe, but it's fine. And with this, we get the confirmation of the next location that we're going to, with another color page spread of both Senku and Risui confirming that they're going to South America, the location, the epicenter of the petrification beam. So you know, this is gonna be good. So yes, when it comes to this chapter, like I said, I really enjoyed this chapter, mainly because of how Nikki plays a very crucial role, and the fact that it's just this cheeky, like, this has to be some type of like metaphor or some type of or social commentary on the fact that the first American president in this new world is black and the first Japanese president is female. And you may argue that, well, what about Senku? What about Zeno? Well, they're scientists. Yes, they do hold powers of position, but officially, this is where the presidency will be starting for both America and Japan. And I just feel as if that just has to be some type of commentary on the fact that even like with these thousands of years, it still takes this long for there to be another African American president and another female president in America and Japan, respectively. The first female president, or in Japan, technically. So, you know, I just really enjoyed that. And just having the just ending in this way, kind of confirming that the reason why they have to work together is because they have really no other choice. That even if they try to wipe out the Kingdom of Science, they may have an idea of what the petrification formula is, but it's more logical to keep them alive and have them make the formula and to work together than to have to figure out the formula themselves, because just because they have this understanding doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be able to like recreate it, because frankly Senku found it by chance, as well as like doing a whole lot of meticulous research. And even though they may have the technology to do so, it may still take like a while to do that. So it just makes logical sense that they will work together just for the ease and comfort, as well as the fact that now that they have diplomacy, that this relationship is still tenuous on the fact that Senku still has Zeno, and that this diplomacy could end when or if Zeno gets returned back to Corn City. Which I think what's going to happen is that even if he does return to Corn City, they're going to be just like, well, you know, that's what the diplomacy was at first, but like we've grown past that as we get the million people city, as we also the fact that now we're going to be going to South America, the epicenter for the petrification. And most likely what's going to be happening is, like, I do not think that they're going to find anyone in South America, because it wouldn't make sense to find people in the epicenter of this petrification beam. It's like finding a survivor of an explosion who set the bomb off. It just wouldn't make sense. So if anything, from here they'll be observing, probably gain a little bit more understanding of like how petrification actually works. Like, why did it start in South America? Was it by chance? Was it specifically chosen? Because if you think about it, like, yeah, South America could be like a good place to start, but wouldn't it make sense to start from the equator and the prime meridian to guarantee that the entire world will be petrified? We're just gonna most likely get more detailed understanding of that, and just learning more and more about how this occurred, how the petrification occurred, and the reasons why behind it. Also, you know, just getting one step closer to the Y-Man on the moon. Most likely Zeno will learn about the Y-Man and may somewhat agree to do it, at the very least, to get a better understanding of the petrification and just to know why. He may still not want to revive everyone in the world, but Zeno may just want to know why the Y-Man did this, or why the Y-Man computer did this. Confusing, yes, but hopefully it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great. Dr. Stone has been really good for the past entirety of the series. Can't wait to read the next chapter. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this chapter. Leave what you liked about this video in the comments below. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel, Big Blue Drew 97. Do all of that cool jazz, and I'll be able to catch y'all in the next video. Goodbye for now. I can't see anything.